Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful Monday. Today we're going to be talking about some of the best websites and website builders for creating your own online reptile store. Many reptile breeders dream of one day creating their own online store or storefront page where they can sell their reptiles, and so today I compiled a list of some of the best options for you, and I broke it up into a bunch of different categories ranging from free to highly advanced standalone stores, and of course we're going to cover everything in between as well. So whether you're a beginner looking to get your foot in the door, or maybe you're an advanced keeper looking to upgrade your website game, hopefully there's something in this video for everyone. And of course we're going to start out with our free tips today and work our way up to the more advanced things. So starting in a free category, unfortunately you don't have many options when it comes to creating your own store or storefront page, but there is some good things that you can utilize at free and no cost. So the first thing I'd recommend if you're on a tight budget is creating an Instagram and a Facebook page. Now while these aren't really stores, these are very valuable tools for you in the future when you do have your online store or storefront page, because you can build up an audience here, customers that you've sold to can follow you here, and so eventually as you build up more and more followers, you can, eventually say, hey, new geckos on the website tonight, or new snakes on the website tonight, go check it out at 7 p.m. and then your previous customers and people who follow you will go check it out, and it's basically free advertising eventually once you build this up. So this is an option you should absolutely check out. It's free, so there's no reason not to. Now, if you're looking to actually sell your reptiles, because technically Instagram and Facebook have rules against it, you might want to check out something like Fauna Classifieds. Now, Fauna Classifieds is another great free option for selling your animals. You're not really creating a storefront page here. I mean, you kind of are, you have your own profile, but really you're just posting animals for sale on this website. It's something that was popular many years ago. It's not as popular these days with things like MorphMarket around, but there is still people posting and checking the classifieds on here. So it's something that's worth a shot. It doesn't hurt, it's free. And again, it's a place to utilize to try and sell your reptiles on no budget. So that would be another option if you're looking to sell your reptiles, but probably the very best option in the free category for creating your own storefront or your own kind of own store is MorphMarket. You can create a free MorphMarket store. You are very limited. I think you can only have 3 ads and a combined value of $750. But hey, for free, that's pretty good. And you can kind of create your own custom store in a way. You're basically just getting like a profile picture, some details about you, that kind of thing. But in a way, it is a storefront essentially on MorphMarket. And it's great because MorphMarket brings in its own traffic. So this is probably your best option in the free category. Now, once you get out of the free tier and you get into the beginner tier, you start getting a little bit more options. And I think this is where a lot of people kind of, I don't want to say make a mistake because I'm all for creating your own website, but I think in the beginner tier when you're just starting out, maybe you've done all your free options and you're looking to upgrade, I think the next best step from that is buying the MorphMarket subscription, the base tier one. It's $11 a month if you pay annually, and you'll want to because it's 50% off. Normally it's $22 month to month, or $11 a month if you pay it all at once, which is $132 a year. So I think this is the next best step if you're looking to kind of advance your business and you're in the beginner stages. So you got your social media pages, maybe your free MorphMarket account. I think the next best step if you're looking to upgrade is to buy the base MorphMarket tier. And the reason I'm not saying to go buy one of the other tiers is because for the price of those, you can create your own standalone website and use it in conjunction with your now paid MorphMarket store, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But at this base tier, you're getting a decent MorphMarket store. Again, you have your own kind of custom storefront page. But the reason I suggest this instead of creating a standalone website right away is when you create a standalone website, you're out on the internet, right? Think about when you Google something. Google crested geckos for sale right now and see who comes up. You're probably going to get one of the bigger breeders on the front page, and you scroll down, you're going to get some of the other big breeders, right? Well, if you're a new little business and you're selling a couple crested geckos here or there, you're going to be on that 3rd, 4th, 5th page. How many people really scroll that far? It's very hard to promote your own website compared to something like MorphMarket, which is bringing in its own traffic and people coming to MorphMarket looking to buy animals. It doesn't get much easier than that and better than that. And so this is why MorphMarket is such a great option. They're bringing in all the traffic. All that you got to do is post the animals for sale. Versus if you go and create your own standalone website and you don't have an audience, you don't have a following, you got to drive the traffic to your website. And I see a lot of people get frustrated at this step because they do go and create their own website and then nobody's buying their stuff right away. And they wonder why. Well, it's because the traffic is not being driven there like it would on something like MorphMarket. So after your free options, my opinion is the best route to go is to create a MorphMarket store where the traffic is coming to you, and all that you got to do is create your storefront and post your animals. It doesn't get much easier than that. So now let's pretend you've done all that. You've done all the free options, right? You have your social media, you have your paid MorphMarket account, which is hopefully doing well for you. And now you're looking to advance on to that next step. So this is kind of our advanced tier, and this is the step where I would create your own standalone website. And this is where you really have, in my opinion, two main options to creating your own standalone website. Really three, but I would consider it two at this tier. So you have two website builders. So what a website builder is essentially, instead of like in the past where you'd have to code your own website, there's many companies out there that'll host a website for you and you kind of just build it on their platform. So like Wix and Squarespace are the two ones that I picked out as main advanced tier Reptile sites. And I'll kind of get into it, but basically, these websites are the two I feel that have the most strong options and the best value for the money, and the two that you're going to see the most often in kind of the mid-tier. There is also Shopify, which is in our expert category. We're going to talk a little bit later why I don't really consider that a, kind of more mid-tier website builder and why you wouldn't really even need it if you're just selling geckos, but we'll talk about that later. So your two main options in this category when you're looking to create your own standalone website is Wix and Squarespace. Now, I just want to put a small disclaimer out here. Of the three website builders we're going to talk about, standalone website builders, Wix, Squarespace, and Shopify, I have only used the free trial on Wix and on Shopify. I haven't actually went all the way and built a website through these sites just because I prefer Squarespace, which we're going to talk about because some of it does come down to personal preference. So back to our advanced category, Wix and Squarespace. Now, there is a bunch of different options out there when it comes to website builders. But to me, these are the two you're going to see the most often, and I feel like these are two that are honestly the best. There is other ones out there you can use. I'm thinking of Square, Weebly, WooCommerce. The list goes on and on and on, right? But honestly, I think these are the two best value for the money, so that's why we're going to be talking about them today. And I can tell you from building a website, building two websites on Squarespace, and then having used the free trial of Wix, honestly, they're very similar. They're similar in a lot of ways. Some might have a little feature that's a little bit different, but if we're talking about selling reptiles online, chances are you're not going to need exactly all the features that every one of them offers specifically. I've used both of them. They're both good. I think it really comes down to personal preference and what you prefer. I would say the biggest difference that I've noticed between them is that on Wix, the main difference is that you can move anything anywhere you want, really. You can really, really customize it as much as you want. And on Squarespace, you have a high level of customization as well, but I would say not as highly as Wix. Now, this can be a good or a bad thing. I have seen good Wix websites where people customized it very cleanly, very crisp. It's easy to navigate. And then I've also seen Wix websites where I'm like, what's going on here? I don't even know what's happening. So on all these three website builders we're going to talk about, you can create a really nice looking website or a really poorly functioning website that's not going to be a good user experience for your customer. Some of it's going to come down to experience and knowledge and skill when it comes to building your website. The website builder can only do so much, but I guess if I had to describe the differences as far as building the actual website goes, Wix, you have a lot of customization. You can really change things however you want, and you're going to start on a template and you can really customize it however you want. On Squarespace, same thing. You're starting on a template. You have a high level of customization, but not as much as Wix, which can be good or bad depending on how you look at it if you don't want to customize it a lot. However, that being said, you both have good options when it comes to many things. They're honestly so similar. The only difference is going to be in the pricing and some of the features you get. But I really like Squarespace personally. That's what I use for my So Stick Reptiles website, along with another website that I use it on Squarespace as well. I think they're both great. You're going to find a lot on Wix. And we're going to talk about some ways to look at gecko websites and tell what platform they're on so you can get some ideas for your own website at the end of this video. But Squarespace is more of a drag and drop builder. So you're just kind of dragging things in, you're dropping them in, and you're editing it how you like. And I really like that. I think Squarespace creates some really clean, crisp looking websites. I love the way it's laid out. To me, it just makes sense in my mind. I had a little bit of a harder time using Wix, but that's just me personally. And the thing to note is that Squarespace, Wix, and Shopify all offer really nice free trials, 14-day free trials where you can try them out free of charge. And if you don't want to upgrade, you don't have to. So you can really get in there and play around with the different website builders and see which one you like most. So in our advanced category here, we have Wix and Squarespace, like I just mentioned. They're both very similar when it comes to functions and features, honestly. I think a lot of it comes down to personal preference. The only difference is in some of the pricing and some of the features you get for the pricing. So I kind of want to talk about that quickly. Squarespace has 3 different plans. They have a business plan and then 2 commerce plans. They have Commerce Basic and Commerce Advanced. And so in the business plan, you're paying $23 a month. And the thing to note here, sorry, another disclaimer, I'm using these monthly prices as if you were paying annually. On all the website builders, you're saving 25 to 30%, like I mentioned, if not more if you buy annually. So it really doesn't make sense why you would pay month to month when you're going to pay a lot more. So Squarespace has a business plan at this moment for $23 a month, $276 a year. Their Commerce Basic, which I have marked as the best option or value for your money from Squarespace, is $27 a month or $324 a year. And then their Advanced plan is $49 a month, $588 a year. So if you're on Squarespace, the plan I'd recommend for you if you're starting out is the Commerce Basic plan. It's $27 a month. And the reason for this is that lower tier plan, the business plan, has a 3% transaction fee on top of payment processing fees. So every credit card, PayPal, they all have a transaction fee, right? Well, on the business plan, Squarespace charges an additional 3%. And so if you do the math on that, the plan itself is a little bit cheaper, but they're charging you a transaction fee. So if you're selling over about $1,650, $1,650 a year through Squarespace, you're better off paying for the commerce plan because otherwise you'd be losing more and more money on transaction fees using the business plan. So that's why I have Commerce Basic marked as the best plan because you're 0% transaction fee. And so that's the best plan from Squarespace, in my opinion, if you're just starting out. Now, when it comes to Wix, they also have 3 plans for business. You got to be careful here, though. Squarespace has 4 plans total. They have like the personal, the business, and then the 2 commerce plans. Wix, I think, offers 7 plans, 4 of which are just for websites, and then 3 for commerce. So make sure you're getting the commerce plans if you're using Wix. But anyway, they have a business basic for $27 a month, $324 a year, business unlimited, $32 a month, or $384 a year, and then a business VIP plan for $59 a month or $708 a year. So Wix is a little bit more expensive on the high end, but the best value on Wix is the Business Unlimited plan, which is $32 a month, $384 a year. Now you're saying, well, why would I want to use that over Squarespace's, which is a little bit cheaper? That Business Unlimited is the one I have as the best value because on Squarespace, some of the features that you're paying for at $49 a month, the way all these website builders work is you pay more and more a month and they give you more and more features. So Squarespace will cut some off at each tier and give them to the next tier, so you have to pay more each and every month if you want to unlock those features. So on Wix, at the $32 a month, you're getting some of the features that Squarespace charges for $49 a month. So that's really a benefit. Wix has really been upping their game lately in the way and the features that they offer and things that they're doing. So that's really amazing that Wix can offer those for $17 a month cheaper on their $32 a month plan. So like I said, test them out. They both have free trials. Pricing is very similar as far as I think for the best value plan. It's $27 a month versus $32, but on the $32 you're getting some more features that you wouldn't for $27 on Squarespace. So really what it comes down to for these 2 plans is personal preference. We'll be showing you some websites at the end of this video that use both Squarespace and Wix, so you can kind of get an idea of what you can create on either. One last thing to mention before we get into our expert tier here is that on these website builders, you're also going to see options that are much cheaper, like a personal plan, the business plan, etc., where you're getting less e-commerce features and you're paying less money a month. And you might be tempted to buy one of these plans, but unfortunately, I think what really kills it is that on these plans, you're not going to be able to have a shop where people can come and instantly buy your geckos. And you don't want that because you already have MorphMarket paid. And so people can't buy geckos on there directly. You don't want them to come to your website and then have to message you again to buy your animals. You want people to come to your website and be able to buy the animals right there and check out and purchase them right away directly. And the reason for this is if you're using the MorphMarket plan like I suggested, it's really handy because people will message you about a gecko on MorphMarket, and instead of collecting their payment information and then their shipping information and all that, you can just say, hey, can you check out through my website here? And you send them the link to the animal, they buy it, boom, bop, bing. You got all their information, they paid for it, and you're ready to go. I do that a lot. It works out great. So you don't really want to buy one of those lower tier options and then have to have people message you again looking to buy, and then getting all the payment information, then all their shipping information, etc. I would highly recommend getting one of the higher tier plans. I think it really pays off, and it just makes things so much easier in the end. Moving on into our last tier here, which is our expert tier or our big level shop tier. If you're going to create a big shop and sell your reptiles, you're going to want to use Shopify. Wix and Squarespace are great for the average gecko seller like me and many other people who have their websites through there. But if you're creating a large reptile store, you're going to want to use Shopify. Honestly, Shopify is just far superior when it comes to creating an online store, e-commerce store, compared to Wix and Squarespace. I personally find their builder very difficult to use, but that's just me. It's just not the way I think, and the way it's laid out makes it difficult for me to use. However, it is still a beginner tool. It's not hard. And so if you're looking to create a big store, you would want to use Shopify. And what do I mean by big store? Well, for example, when we take a look at some websites that use Squarespace and Wix, you're going to find that a lot of them are selling one or two kinds of goods. And then that's about it. If you're creating a store where you're going to have a large variety of items and a large catalog of items to buy, you're going to want to use Shopify. So we can talk about it in a little bit here, and I'll show you what I mean. But let's just talk a little bit about pricing for Shopify because it is also the most expensive out of the two we just covered. Again, Shopify also has 3 e-commerce plans. They have Basic, Shopify Plan, and then Advanced, which is kind of funny. But the Basic plan is $29 a month or $348 a year. Again, if you're paying annually, $79 a month for the Shopify plan or $948 a year. And then their Advanced plan is $299 a month or $3,588 a year. Of course, these prices I listed might change depending on when you're watching the video, but it is still by far the most expensive. Now, one thing Shopify does on all its plans that the other two do not is they charge a processing fee on top of like a transaction fee if you're not using Shopify payments through their website. And this is something they do for all plans. On the Basic plan is $29 a month, they charge 2%. And then I think on Shopify plan, which is the mid tier, it's 1%. And then on the Advanced, I think it's 0.5%. So that's just something to keep in mind. Most people are going to be able to check out through ShopPay, but if for some reason they weren't, just know that there is extra transaction fees here. And then of course it is the most expensive out of the other two we looked at, with the top tier being almost $300 a month. But the good news is this is your best option if you're creating a large store, and chances are if you're creating a large store, you're okay with paying $300 a month for your website. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, I marked the Basic plan, which is $29 a month, as the best option for the average gecko seller. Honestly, a lot of gecko sellers aren't doing a huge amount of different items. There's a very few select gecko breeders who sell a crazy amount of items. Think of Pangea Reptiles, for example. They sell geckos, but they also sell caging. They also sell light bulbs, but they also sell merchandise. So their catalog is huge and widely varied, and so they need something like Shopify. And when we check them out in a little bit, you'll see that they are using Shopify. Another one would be like Tiki's Geckos, for example. They're selling reptiles, but they're selling merch, they're selling food, they're selling, this, that, and the other thing. He's also using Shopify. And it's just because Shopify has so many plugins. They have an app store on Shopify where you can download other plugins in for your e-commerce store. So Shopify is really, if you're looking for a huge online store. I wouldn't recommend it if you're just selling geckos. And that's just because the pricing is more expensive, generally speaking. And I just found it a little bit harder to use. But like I said, you can always try the free trial of it. Maybe you'll like it more than the other two. Maybe you won't. Hard to say, but these are all 3 good options: Wix, Squarespace, and Shopify. I think you're good with any of the 3. Maybe before you even sign up for a free trial of one of these websites, you'll want to look at some examples of each using each of the platforms I talked about. And the good news is it's very easy to do this. On the Google Store, there's an application called Wappalizer. That's Wappalizer. Lyzer. And essentially what it does is it's an extension for Chrome, and you can click on it and it'll bring up a bunch of information about the website you're on. And so it'll give you what platform they're using. So that's how I found out Pangea is on Shopify, Tiki's Geckos is on Shopify. And so if you go and check out either of their websites, you'll find that they're using one of the pre-made templates from Shopify, and that they have a large catalog of items, which is probably why they chose Shopify as their kind of provider for their website. And so you can kind of get an example of how things are designed, what things might look like, is the website smooth? And like I mentioned earlier, you can build a good and a bad website using any of these platforms, so just keep that in mind if you're looking at other platforms. But I thought Pangea's website and Tiki's Geckos websites were two good examples of a Shopify store. So if you like some of the features that they have on your store, maybe Shopify is right for you. Now, if you're looking at a Squarespace store, you can check out my website. The thing to note is I'm running on an older version of Squarespace, so just keep that in mind. But I'd like to think my website is pretty good as well, so you can check that out if you like my website. Maybe Squarespace is right for you. Another one who uses Squarespace is Altitude Exotics, and this just goes to show you that just because you are a large breeder doesn't mean you can't use Squarespace or Wix. I think we could all agree that Altitude Exotics is probably one of the biggest breeders of high-end crested geckos in the country, and he's using Squarespace and not Shopify. The reason for that is he doesn't really need Shopify. He doesn't have a large catalog of products. All that he's really selling is geckos and I think gift cards. So, good for him, right? He can use Squarespace. He doesn't need an expensive plan like Shopify if he's just selling geckos. Some examples of a Wix website would be Gecko Barracks and LAC Herps. I think both of these websites look pretty good as well. The navigation's easy, and I kind of like the design. They're a little bit different in their own way. You're going to find that the majority of people, mid-sized breeders, I would say, or the average breeder, I found a lot of them were using Wix when I went to look. And so I think that's probably the most popular is Wix. And I'd say Shopify and Squarespace were second. And then there's some people who are using other random ones, which I didn't cover in this video, but I would really recommend sticking with one of these three. I think these are really the best ones. I did a lot of research before this when I was trying to create my own website, and some of the other ones were okay, but they had something going against them that was a big con. So that's something to keep in mind. If you'd like to see a more in-depth video on creating a website or maybe picking a website builder specifically like Wix, Squarespace, or Shopify, I can do that as well. But I just wanted to give you some good options for creating your own website and kind of moving up through the beginner ranks all the way up to, creating your own online store. If you enjoyed this video or you found it helpful, please leave a comment down below and let me know how I did. Did I miss anything, or do you have a website builder you prefer more? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, if you'd like to see some of the products I use when caring for my crested geckos, you can check out my Amazon storefront page down below in the description. I've got some caging, food, just general care items on there, and if you buy from me, I might get a small commission, so I really appreciate that. You can also check out my website where I have many amazing crested gecko merch designs, and of course, you always follow me on Facebook and Instagram. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next one.